Our guest today is an illustrator and an author, and one of his latest projects, I Lie Popeye, is currently ongoing at Massive Publishing. Issues one and two are out now. Marcus Williams, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Williams, how are you?
I'm great. Good day and glad to be here.
Excellent, excellent. Now, right off the bat with this I Lie Popeye book, you've got such a dynamic, flamboyant art style. It's really fun to look at, and that's one of the
Cool.
things that's appealing about the book.
Cool.
How did you develop your style, and who are some of your influences?
It's weird because that's the one thing I didn't try to do.
Oh,
As a
really?
young artist, no, I tried to draw like everybody else. There,
Okay.
it was the Bruce Lee approach, the Jeet Kune Do kind of approach where, well, not Jeet Kune, it was he had like three masters. You know, if you didn't know, Bruce Lee had three masters coming up, and once he got to be adept in martial arts after learning from those three, then he kind of cherry picked what he liked from that learning
Yeah.
process and made his own style, Jeet Kune Do, and just kind of formed it that way. So that's what happened with me. I just had like, I think the first artist I saw comic wise was Jim Lee. And
Oh,
it was
okay.
yeah, it was an X-Men issue where it was like split down the middle. Wolverine's face was on one side, Omega Red was on the other. That was my first actual comic book. I didn't know what a Wolverine was before that. So his style was mind-blowing. I was like seven. So,
Yeah.
then fast forward, I think the most influential next artist, because I tried to draw like everything I saw, but Spawn came out. And
Okay.
so that blew my mind. And so everything I drew from that point was dark and gritty and just full of texture. Uh, Everything. It didn't matter what I was drawing. I was trying to draw like Spawn.
Right.
Uh, oh God, his name. But then,
Todd
you know,
McFarlane.
not with McFarlane first, but then Greg Capullo.
There
Greg,
you go.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Capullo. When Capullo took over, that's when I was like, he was, that was the key. I was like, I got to learn to draw like this. And then, of course,
Hmm.
Joe Madureira came out. And that's when I was old enough as a teenager to buy my own books. So if
Hmm.
Joe Madureira was drawing it and he was drawing for X-Men, I was buying it. So I think he influenced me the most. The longest was Joe Mad. And then, everybody else from there, man, games, anime, everything else. So, but ultimately, and when I got to illustration level as an adult, if someone said, "Can you draw Scooby Doo?" Because basically learned from every other style, I was like, "Yeah, show
Yeah.
me a picture of what you want me to draw," and I can look at
Hmm.
it, and then I can mimic that style from there. So that's what an illustrator is supposed to be able to do.
Right.
To get work in the industry, you have to be very plastic and stretchy, style wise. But when you say what I do to develop my style, now, after getting this whole long list of styles in my repertoire, I can say, you know what, I want cartoony, I want anime, I want, classic comic, but also this, and I can just kind
Yeah.
of pick and choose and then combine that to be a style. So now when people say they recognize my style, I'm like, I don't know what that means, but I'm glad
Yeah.
you like my art.
Because you cherry picked from a lot of different, well, I don't know if it's cherry
Yeah.
picked, but a lot of different
I can
influences. But
select it like a Rolodex. I can be like, I want this, I want this, I want this, and then it combines to be whatever style I want. Yeah,
now, in terms of different styles, well, first of all, you're on this I Lie Popeye book from Massive.
yes,
Were you a Popeye fan growing up? Were you
absolutely.
familiar with the character? What do you have a favorite piece of Popeye media? What's your experience level with the character?
No, I was a huge Popeye fan. I was the youngest of four brothers, so anything that had to do with any action in our house, we were right there in front of it. So martial arts, fighting, anything. So yeah, I saw the black and white cartoons when I was younger. I saw the color versions of Popeye cartoons. Now, the only thing I didn't do is I didn't read any of the comic strips. And
Okay.
that's even once I got to adulthood. So I had no clue, like little details when I got this, when we started talking with King Features, they were telling me things. They were like, Popeye didn't eat spinach in the comic strip. I was like, really? What? Where did it was like
Hmm.
that was created for the cartoon. And I was like mind
Really?
blown.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, neither did I. I was like, what? So what he was just he was like he was just strong in the comic. He just beat people up and stuff. So I was like, oh, I didn't know that. But yeah, no, I'm a huge Popeye fan, and I think the cartoons resonate. And it's odd because I don't like Scooby Doo, but
No?
similar reasons why I shouldn't like Popeye, but I love Popeye. I don't like Scooby Doo.
No?
Scooby-Doo has the same formula every single episode.
Kind of,
Popeye has
yeah.
the exact same formula every single episode, but it
Hmm.
was so much more entertaining to me, I guess because they were creative on how he beat the people up. So
How he did his thing.
yeah, yeah. It was always a mask in Scooby-Doo, and I was like, that's dumb. This is
It's
lame.
formulaic, very
Right. There's
formulaic.
no such thing. They never found a ghost. This sucks. I don't want to watch this anymore. So it wasn't, yeah. But all Popeye cartoons, I think I was right there, except for the newer ones. Like when I think
Okay.
they gave him a kid or something, and it was so
Mm.
vanilla. And I was like, no, I don't like this. He's not punching like nails into a ship with his fist. I
Yeah.
don't want to watch this. This isn't
There you
gritty
go.
enough. Yeah.
Well, how did you get involved with the Popeye license and
Yeah.
with I Lie Popeye then?
It was the best way possible. It was an fan artist dream. I did an illustration. So I love doing fan fictions. I did a fan fiction just in my the way I do it is if I don't see someone doing something, that's exciting to me as a character designer. So
Hmm.
I've drawn fan art for Popeye since way back, like 2014, 2015, but I didn't have a
Okay.
following back then. So like I did some
Hmm.
Street Fighter, like I crossed over Street Fighter and Popeye. And I had
Yeah.
him fighting like Akuma. And it was I liked it. So but no, I did a fan fiction that crossed over Dragon Ball Z with the Popeye universe.
Okay.
It was called World Breakers. And all I did is I
World Break.
drew, yeah, I started with an image of Popeye and Goku. They were laughing, kind of shoulder to shoulder, after the aftermath of the fight.
Hmm.
So it just showed their personalities. It would match. They're both goofy at times, but they're ridiculously strong, right? So
Yeah.
I did that almost 3 years ago. Like today,
Okay.
3 years ago today, I did that, posted it. I did about 7 images. Like I had
Hmm.
Olive and Vegeta training. Olive was learning how to go, you know, to build her chi. And I showed older Sweet Pea with the other kids in
Yep.
Dragon Ball Z, things like that. I showed Bluto and Frieza. So I wrote
Hmm.
the fan fiction
Yeah.
per image. I would write a fan fiction, maybe 3 or 4 paragraphs each, just to make sense of the story. Did
Hmm.
that, had fun, and once I'm done with the fan fiction, it's posted, and I'm like, I'm gone. I'm like, that
Okay.
was just for fun. I did it. Now, fast forward, I'd say about last year, maybe a year or so ago now, and the people that run the Dragon Ball Z, I think it's Toriyama's Facebook page. I don't know if
Okay.
it's, I don't know who runs it, but they shared that Popeye illustration with Goku and Popeye, and it
Yeah.
went viral on Facebook.
Wow.
Didn't tag
Okay.
me. They didn't tag me. So I didn't know this
Whoops.
happened. Right. And so follow the breadcrumbs I had to do. So the people that run the Alex Rodriguez, he's the social marketing manager there at King Features at the time.
Hmm.
So he saw that post and then shared that post to Twitter at the time. It went
Okay.
viral there. Again, didn't
Okay.
tag me because he didn't know me. Someone in the
Right.
comments tagged me. And so he
Uh-huh.
followed the breadcrumbs there and emailed me. He was like,
Wow.
hey man, I like your style. I like your Popeye. What do you think about doing a 10-page book with your style? And we're
Hmm.
not a book. I'm sorry. He said just a 10-page story. We're gonna do it
Right.
online. It's
Uh-huh.
just to market and promote. I was like, hell yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Who's gonna write it? And he was like, well, we read your fan fiction. We're thinking you can write it. I'm like, oh, yes, I can.
There
Absolutely.
you go.
So it was the best kind of thing possible. But again, I did the fan art years ago.
Yeah.
So it catching up to me, and I was working on other stuff, and I was like, I don't care if I'll stop everything. This is perfect. Yes. So
Absolutely.
everything worked together, and that's how we started with 10 pages. I did the 10 pages, turned them
Hmm.
in, and the higher ups in the company loved it. So they're like, have them do 30 more pages.
There you
So
go.
I'm like, okay, sweet, let's do it. So I had to expand on the 10 pages story, but I
Yeah.
left it open ended anyway, just in case. We talked about
Okay.
it. Yeah, just to say if fans like it, I'm gonna leave it
Yeah.
open ended. That's exactly what happened. So from that 10 pages, I just expanded it and it feels like I had more breathing room. That's why.
Hmm. Naturally. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely. So, I mean, part of the solicitation for I Lie Popeye is that it's a modern take on the character.
sure.
And I mean, what I theorized when I looked at the first issue was that you don't so much modernize the character so much as you modernize the presentation of the character. Is that accurate? I mean, I guess to condense the question, how do you modernize Popeye?
Right. From a fan's perspective, and because I have a pet peeve when people do this to shows or classic IPs. If you're a fan of that IP,
Hmm.
there's nothing wrong with the characters as they are.
Hmm.
Um, so what was way more entertaining because we had multiple meetings, we talked about it, and I'm talking like 3 hour meetings, just kind of
Okay.
brainstorming because I was like, you guys got to rein me in. What exactly do you guys want? And they were
Yeah.
very, very open to just saying, well, what do you want to do? So
Okay.
I was pretty adamant. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with Popeye. I want Popeye. I want Olive. I want Blue. I said, I don't want to change any of that stuff. I just want to polish it, like you're saying, put a new
Yeah.
skin on. Obviously, Popeye has never had abs that we saw, you know. So
That we know of.
right. And so I wanted it to feel modernized. I wanted to feel like, he's a strong dude, but it looks like Popeye, and that's the job of a character designer. But
Yeah.
as far as the story, what we ended up, even with the 10-page story, I was like, I wanted to feel like Popeye, just
Hmm.
in modern day times. And so everything about Popeye and the team and the main cast shouldn't feel like it's going to rub the fans the wrong way. I just wanted to
Right.
feel like anybody that has never seen a Popeye cartoon, comic strip, or anything can look at this and say, "Oh, cool. Who's this guy? What is this story
Yeah.
about?" And then be led. The only thing that Popeye has never got to do is grow as a character.
Mhm.
He's like
Okay.
I talked about the Scooby Doo, formula and the Popeye formula. It was a very formulaic, thing. Popeye
Hmm.
is enjoying life. Somebody wants to disrupt that. They usually mess it up, and then he has to take spinach to confront whatever the problem. He beats
Yeah.
the problem, and the story's over. So character development wise, he's never really been able to say, well, what happens if he can't do that?
Hmm.
What happens if you
You throw a monkey
introduce
wrench into his formula.
exactly? Yeah, yeah. So that was the most exciting thing. We couldn't expound on it in the 10 pages, but I at least wanted to show his range, all of the things that he can do. And it was like I had 2 to 3 pages per thing to show how awesome
Hmm.
Popeye was. But the world building, the character building, it was all kind of nestled in the conversations we had. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that was the goal. And it's still, as I reach the fifth issue of this book, um, depending on what they want to do with it, I've absolutely baked in character growth. I want them all, each individual character of the cast, to have their own path past this fifth book. Whatever the fans
Hmm.
want to do with it, whatever the company wants to do with it, I'm going to leave that inside the DNA of the book. So if I'm drawing it, or if anyone else draws it, they'll have the breadcrumbs, they'll have the
Yeah.
roadmap to say, oh, so Popeye is going to go this far, and it's because I'm an anime fan. If you watch any Japanese anime, if you watch any amazing story, any popular story, those
Yeah.
writers are taking over the world by storm because they know how to make fans attached to a character's growth.
Right.
And brilliant directors, brilliant writers. It's not just action. The action is phenomenal to look at, but they know how to write the crap out of a character. It's fantastic. So I want that treatment for Popeye and crew. So
They know how to loop you in.
yes, but they do that by making you care. If you don't care
Hmm.
about those characters, you're gonna be like, I don't care if they die.
No, there you go.
And I think American writers suffer from that a lot, man. And they keep scratching their heads. Marvel keeps scratching their heads like, oh well, I thought you guys would like this. No, no, you didn't do it right. You got to make us
No.
care. Where's the growth of the character? Well, they're just awesome.
Hmm.
That doesn't really do it for me. I don't care if this character dies tomorrow.
No,
You
there you
know,
go.
that kind of thing.
So, so maybe I'm remiss a little bit. So can we talk to me about the story for I Lab Popeye? For those folks who haven't seen it,
Right.
what's our premise? Give me an elevator pitch.
Sure. Elevator pitch is no one knows how Popeye lost his
Hmm.
real eye. He actually does not have an eye. So it's, he keeps this left eye pinched. Oh God, his right eye. They made sure to let me know that when we started. Elevator pitch. So no one knows how he lost his right eye. A reporter local reporter, Judy Patootie, shows up to Popeye's business and home to ask and get the dirt on where did Popeye or how did Popeye lose his eye. But in doing so, everyone else around Popeye has their own version of that truth, their
Mm-hmm.
truth. So the reporter is ultimately going to get frustrated knowing that Popeye really doesn't have an answer. No one, not even Popeye, gets to actually tell that story. So I lie, Popeye. It's a lie that keeps perpetuating itself. And we may not get to the truth. But of course, Judy Patootie has an alternative motive, ulterior motive, and she's actually an apprentice of the Sea Hag, who is
Mm-hmm.
actually trying to search for a much more powerful artifact that secretly gives the secret of how Popeye and spinach work, because she wants that power for himself, for herself. So that's
You're
where I
diving
Like
into
Popeye
the
starts.
technology of it.
Yes. And that was supposed to fit
That's
in 10 pages. So
wow.
right.
So, I mean, what can we expect? Issues one and two are out now, like we mentioned. What can we expect in the near future from iLab? Because it's 5 issues, correct?
5 issues, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what can we expect from issues three, four, and five? Give us a little teaser for
No,
three,
no
four, and five.
spoilers, right? So
No spoilers, no spoilers.
right, what I'm setting up, each is, and we talked about this recently, with the editor. Every issue should feel like there's a beat to the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like every issue should be something that has weight, uh,
Mm-hmm.
for the character development, and that's everybody in the cast that if I can fit it in, every single issue should have something that makes the audience go, "Oh crap, I didn't know that," or "Oh
Yeah.
wow, I didn't." So this is going to be their new direction with this character or that thing or that. So every issue so far, there is that. There's something that has been introduced or explained or set up, so the next issue can further that plot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's how episodic stories work. But character
Yeah.
wise, that's what I'm hoping to leave with this audience. And I guess there's no time to go slow. So those beats of the story have to feel impactful enough to
Right.
make the reader say, "Oh my gosh, I want to know what happens with this thing next issue." So that's what I'm really ramping up. And I mean, I guess the biggest thing we talked about it a little bit, which is to disrupt that looping story of Popeye gets spinach and then he solves the problem. I can spoil it a little bit because it happened between issues 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Is what Popeye doesn't have any more spinach.
Mm-hmm.
That was the mission of Judy Patootie in issue 1. She
Right.
cast a spell secretly and got rid of all of the spinach in his vicinity, so he doesn't have spinach. Um, and I wanted to start with that one. So
Yeah.
there, he has to get some urgency to say, well, does he need spinach?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the key to his power, or is there something else? And that's where the story gets a little deep,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not. It's not my fault. So the original artist, that created this, Eugene the Jeep, was introduced way back in the day. That's that little,
Mm-hmm.
magical,
Yep.
animal that pops in and out of
Mm-hmm.
reality. So he's a
Yep.
if you haven't, Google the comic strip, the original comic strip when Eugene the Jeep was introduced, and this is like I want to say well over, I don't know, 20 strips that explain how Eugene the Jeep works. And there's this government guy that's hunting the Jeep, and he lays out this intricate, really crazy story about a fourth dimensional being,
Mm-hmm.
trapped inside the body of this kid. And he knows all about the Jeep. Popeye and Olive know nothing about it. So
Right.
that writer, he really goes in on fourth dimensional and different dimensions and all this stuff. So I was like, oh, and I never read that. So
Right.
during my discovery of all the comic strip stuff, um, I was tickled that I was like, this was in Popeye back then,
You don't
fourth
you
dimensional
don't
beings,
necessarily think of Popeye as like a cosmic character, do you?
right? But that's what Eugene the Jeep is. But there's also magic, in Popeye. Sea Hag actually uses magic, and I'm like, when I asked them, I was like, so how does magic work in this world? They're like, however it needs to. I was like, oh,
You tell
perfect.
us.
Cool. So now I get to make a magic system and stuff like that. So that gets introduced in issue 2, where the Sea Hag kind of breaks down how magic works.
Hmm.
But it's, these kinds of things. I want the Sea Hag to have character growth as well.
Yeah,
What's her motivation? And I hate villains that are just evil just for evil's sake.
just
So
because they can be.
that's exactly where I'm tickled as a fan for whenever they say, "Oh, well, that hasn't been explained yet." I'm like, "Awesome, yeah."
Hmm.
So,
There you go.
but
What?
I go definitely more geeky and nerdy because I love science, I love sci-fi, but I also love to pick little things that are real that
Hmm.
actually exist and just nudge it into the
Yeah,
fantasy sci-fi thing, and pull these things together. But
plant
again,
those little seeds of reality.
exactly, it shouldn't feel if Popeye doesn't eat spinach, you know, is he any less Popeye? Right? That's the
There
question
you
that I
go.
have to ask. So that's the wonderful question. Who is Olive? Who is Bluto? Who is Wimpy? Who
Hmm.
is, all of these characters past their looping story arc and character development. And it's a blast, man. I'm having a great time. So just look, there will be an epic battle.
Oh, I believe
Uh,
it.
but I will
There's an
definitely
epic
have
battle to
to.
open the issue.
Exactly. So I have to leave that at issue 5, but I will definitely put in, some good cliffhangers past this story. So the story will
It's so.
end. It's just not the end.
Mhm. It's
So
not the end.
right.
It's so interesting that you're sort of adding new dimensions or trying to add new dimensions to these largely two-dimensional characters that were created in the I mean 1920s, 1930s. And I mean, is
Yes.
that, I talked about how I have a pet peeve of smartphones, and we don't have a lot of time, but we'll get a little bit about smartphones here. I mean, in terms of planting this character in the modern era, I mean, are you writing or and drawing around modern technology? Because I mean, Popeye, as far as we know, Popeye's never interacted with a smartphone before. I mean, do we think he's gonna?
So I like the way you phrased that question. So I am drawing based on because I actually watched some videos of what a tugboat captain actually does in
Mhm.
modern times, and I was surprised. They actually live and go to sleep on a boat
Yep.
with a
Hmm.
crew and everything. So that helped me to kind of formulate that. Yeah, you can still, live in
Yeah.
modern times, and they cook their breakfast on the boat, and
Hmm.
they had enough technology to do their job every day, but it doesn't mean that you can't live a traditional and or non, or an analog lifestyle
Right.
in modern times. So it really helped me to kind of frame Popeye and Olive are not old ish. They're
No.
oldish, I guess, but more
Okay.
so they have an old soul. They're okay
Okay.
with the analog lifestyle, and though I guess what in our conversations initially, I was like, we're just taking the characters from the 20s, 30s,
Hmm.
40s, and we're doing this and we're putting them in modern times.
That's how
But
it should be, I would think.
exactly. That feels right, when you see it happen. So in the event, I do have some great world building stuff. And Lord knows if we green lights more issues, world building and just slice of life stuff everywhere. But I with these 5, I gotta,
Yeah.
get all the stuff in.
Gotta stay
But
on
I
track.
yeah, I want them, going to the grocery store. I want them going to bowling alleys. I want them doing just stuff. And of course, the world is around them, but
Hmm.
that's the fun of it. Like we
Yeah.
laughed in those meetings. I'm like, dude, wouldn't it be amazing? Them trying to just get a movie ticket. In modern
Yeah.
times, the frustration and listening to Popeye, I just want to see a movie. I have
Hmm.
money, take it. I would like to
Yeah.
go
There
see a movie with my girl
you go.
and, in Popeye speech. But yeah, that I think that's the entertaining part. And I addressed it with the editor at the time. I was like, that's the problem with Superman. Is Superman is close. I think he's at 100. I want to say he's close to 100.
Almost. Yeah.
Yeah, and the writing of Superman has to move with the time. His character, much like Goku in Dragon Ball Z, can remain the
Hmm.
same.
Yeah.
But I think one writer took this wonderful direction with Superman and Lois, where they were just in like pajamas at the start of the
Hmm.
comic, and Clark had to go to the grocery store, and he forgot
Yep.
something, and he had to go back to the grocery store, and he had to, it was just slice of life. But it
Yeah.
was the most entertaining thing because he broke stuff along the way.
Yep.
He made mistakes. I was like, that's a Superman I've never seen before, but
Hmm.
that's entertaining as hell. And now I'm invested in seeing what does a Superman slice of life look like, because we know
Yeah.
he's super powerful. We know who Popeye
Yeah.
is, but we've never
Hmm.
seen him try to navigate, the life and times of 2020, whatever. So
Yeah.
that's what I would hope to really, really get into, because it's hilarious and it's so much
Hmm. Yeah,
comedy
definitely.
riddled. So yeah, it's if he does interact with technology or modern day times, it'll be frustrating for him. Olive, I think, will
Hmm.
be this much, not much. She'll be this much more adept than Popeye.
Okay.
So she'll
Just
still make
slightly.
yeah, she'll still make mistakes, but Popeye will get frustrated, like, here, do it. Do the thing with the thing, Olive. And
Do the
she's like,
thing with
well,
the thing.
yeah, I'll do it, And then so she'll still mess up, but it'll still be funny. So
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to more of I Lie Popeye.
yeah.
Anything else you would like to add, good sir?
Yeah, no, definitely follow Massive for where to buy the book online and things. You can buy it from their page, Massive Publishing. I follow them on Instagram. But I'm on my pages is Marcus the Visual,
Marcus
all
the
one
Visual.
word. Yep. Um, but definitely it's gonna be cool. I'm working on issues right now, so meeting these deadlines and having a ball. Just laughing at some pages. I'm making sure to make sure there's comedy inside there. But if you guys aren't plugged in, follow these pages, follow me as an artist, and you know, um, let's all root for animation after this. We got to make the book, sell, right?
Yeah.
Because the company needs to see that fans are aware, and that's a weird thing. A lot of people don't even know that it's happening. I didn't know a comic came out for Popeye. I'm like, I don't know what to
Hmm.
do. I don't know. Do I like do a blimp or a banner? I don't know what to do. So, but yeah, make the book sells. Let your people know, and let's have fun with it.
Marcus Williams, thank you very much, sir.
All right, man. You too. Thank you so much.